Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video what I want to do is talk about how to set up a custom domain on Netlify when your domain is registered elsewhere. Okay, so how do we use that? Okay, and we'll do a couple different examples. I'll do one from GoDaddy and I'll do one from GPD host. The premise is generally the same. Okay, so let's go here. I want to log into Netlify. I have plenty of just sort of dummy projects deployed, so we'll just take a look at a couple of them. Let's take a look at this one. What's this? Okay, that works for me. Okay, so we're gonna take this and point this to a domain. I have hosting through GPD host, which is a cPanel hosting type setup. So if you use like Bluehost or HostGator or GPD host or any of these kind of more sort of WordPressy, cPanel-y type hosts, um, you know, yeah, this is how you'll do it. So I'm going to log into my account. So I have cPanel hosting. And what cPanel hosting is you're using a shared host, which means that server is not just like you're not the only one using the particular server. Okay, this is shared hosting, and cPanel allows you to control your little piece of the host and control all the features that relate to your piece of this shared host that you're sharing with other users. So requests for these websites are coming all to this one host. It's great if you have like just a basic personal website. You don't expect there to be a lot of traffic. This was sort of the way to go. Nowadays with things like Netlify that allows you to make a page pretty much for free and deploy it, I mean, if you're still hosting WordPress, this is still probably the way to go in those early stages. Generally with these services, then as your website grows, you then upgrade to a VPS, a virtual private server, which is just like another tier of service. You still get the cPanel per se, but it's now on your own virtual server. So all the requests go strictly to just for your websites instead of you sharing those resources. And like actually, let me see if I can find I'll go take a look at their packages later. Take me back. Oh, I guess I'm over here, so I might as well show you web hosting. Okay, so you see hosting, WordPress hosting. So usually the lowest package is just straight up WordPress hosting. You can just generate some WordPress websites. Then there's hosting with cPanel. I'm not sure what hosting with Plex is since I've never done that before. Okay, and then you can see here the kind of different levels of service. So like $9.99 annually. Okay, so it's pretty cheap. I think for like Bluehost, it's like $3 a month. So again, this is not expensive stuff. This is just for one website. I think I got a more expensive package because I like to have more flexibility. I think this is what I have, $2 a month. But let's see if you start going to like the $9 a month, unlimited MySQL databases. It never mentions the VPS. I know in Bluehost you can do that. Okay, well let me go back. Let me get logged back in. So my account. Okay, and then you see you go to the cPanel, and you have access to this thing called cPanel. It has all these different things where you can create like MySQL databases. So this is generally very, very cool. This is still pretty cool if you're like a PHP developer, because this is really PHP centered. So if you're using like I don't know about maybe not Laravel per se. I don't know how this. I've never actually tried using like Composer and deploying things with Composer, which is like PHP's version of npm. I've never actually tried to use that with a cPanel host, so I don't know how easy that would be to deploy. But I mean, if you're just basically doing like PHP files and creating your website like that, this is really a really useful way of doing it. It was kind of like the norm. Still probably is the norm among more PHP-centric web development. And PHP is awesome, by the way. I have nothing negative to say about PHP. If you hear people knocking it, it's because they haven't tried it enough or haven't learned a lot of the new stuff that as PHP has evolved, or tried things like Laravel, which is really sweet. Okay, think of it as like PHP's version of Ruby on Rails. Okay. So usually you have like a file manager, and like this is where you can like upload your files directly to your different projects and whatnot. That's not really what we care about right now. Okay. Other things that are important is like, okay, like here, domains. Here I can see my domains. Okay, so I just got these 2 domains right now. So here I can create subdomains if I want to do additional hosting on there. Honestly, I'm fine with just deleting this one, but I'll do that another time. Okay, what I care about is DNS. Okay, that's really what you want to look for. Okay, and what you can do from DNS is we can create CNAME records and A records. An A record will allow you to create like a subdomain and point it to a particular IP address. So A records are always pointing to an IP address. A CNAME record always points to a name address. So it's called like a character name, CNAME. So basically, you're still pointing it to a website. You're still pointing to a server, but instead of pointing it to its IP address, you're pointing it to sort of a name. Okay, and that's what we're going to be using for Netlify. MX records is for mail exchange. So if you're putting it to a mail server, so like in GoDaddy, there's like a way to have like GoDaddy forward mail for you, and you just point it to like their servers. I use that trick all the time, so that way all my domains just make a catch-all address. Okay, so now we go to the domain settings on Netlify, and I say I want to add a custom domain. So we'll just call this my supertest.alexmercedcoder.com. Okay, the reason I'm using some ridiculous subdomains because it's not something I want to use later on, so I don't care about using it. My supertest. Okay, yeah, yes, it's me. Okay, so now that I've added it, what it wants me to do is add this URL, the Netlify URL, as a CNAME record. Okay, so now I go back to cPanel. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to add a CNAME record. Okay, and then here's where I would put like my supertest.alexmercedcoder.com. That's the domain, and I'm pointing it to here. Add a CNAME record. And this is going to take a while. The GPD host is kind of, or at least like this screen just gets stuck. But it's doing the thing. Okay, so I can go back over here and refresh the page, see if it took effect yet. It's checking status. Nope, not yet. Refresh it again in a sec. Do it again. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. Okay, but see, basically that's what it's saying. My supertest CNAME to this URL. Okay. But again, it can take some time. So what I need to do is here, it'll just be frozen here on GPD host. But to see it, actually, I can go to, what does it show me? Oh my, I think I actually have to still go back over here. If I click manage, I think here's where I can see all my entries. So then I can see my supertest, my supertest. Yeah, there it is. My supertest pointing to there. Okay, so it's done. It's made. Now we just have to wait for a second because it takes a while for it to proliferate across all the DNS hosts, which could possibly take hours. Usually it just takes a few minutes. So now if I refresh the page again, and see it's working. So now I can go to my supertest.alexmercedcoder.com. See, and it works. Okay, very neat. So any kind of cPanel hosting, that's how that's going to work. Okay. And I usually always forward everything to subdomains because I like to keep the main domain in my host because I like to use their free email features. So generally, like the main domain name always forwards to like main dot that domain. Like for example, devnursery.com. And I'm pretty sure this is probably not best practice for search engine optimization. Oh well. Okay, but see, it points to main.devnursery.com. So generally, what's going to end up being crawled by Google is main.devnursery.com, which is fine. Cool. Okay, but see, this is all really hosted on Netlify. Okay, and we can, and see, this is a separate site on Netlify that I point to toots.alexmerced.coder. This is actually a Gatsby blog. Okay, this is all Netlify. I don't pay a penny for it because not enough of you guys visit my blog and my website that you guys have made me have to pay for it. I do encourage you to try to push Netlify's limits, to send me a bill by visiting my website and encouraging your friends to visit my website on Netlify, that are hosted on Netlify. Okay, so let's show you the GoDaddy way of doing this. So let me head over to well, we still want this, so let's find another project to do this with. So I'll go back to my main page, let's find another throwaway. Okay, so how about this one? Objective Hoover. I think this is just like a dummy view page from a previous video. Yep, okay, so let's do that. Actually, we'll do this 3 ways because I have another domain registrar we can show you this with. GoDaddy.com. So let's go to GoDaddy.com. Sign in. Sign in. I'm signing in. Okay, and let me go find a domain name that's code oriented. I have a lot of domain names from my more politicky stuff from my prior life as a political figure. Not that I do that nowadays. I'm just me, Alex Merced Coder. I guess I could just use my name. Yeah, I guess I could use your full stack dev real quick. I just bought this, so I can actually show you all the cool little tricks while I'm at it. Okay, so I just bought this domain. Okay, I don't share too much information, but let's see here. I want to use my domain. So let's go here. No, this is not where I want to be. I know GoDaddy's made their sites a lot more confusing over the years. All the way back to the bottom. What I want to do is go to Manage DNS. I'll show you a few cool tricks. Okay, now first thing, before we even do the whole, again, you can add a CNAME record, so it's essentially the same deal. But you can use GoDaddy to forward email, like set a catch-all email address, just by doing something like this. I just do mx host at, so at always means like sort of the root domain, so yourfullstackdev.com. And it's going to point to smtp secure server.net. Okay, so this is GoDaddy's email server. So I pointed to that. Priority is 0. That's just because I've done it so many times I've memorized it. I hit save on that one. So that's going to be for incoming mail. And then I do this one. You have to do a second one. Also at, and I think this is like mail store one.secure server.net. We'll double check in a second. Secure server.net. Mail store one at secure server.net. And I think this one's supposed to be a 10 priority. Okay, and then with that, I can now set like email forwarding rules. So let me first just go set up the custom domain here. Domain settings. My super test dot your full stack dev.com. Supertest your full stack dev.com. Verify. Okay, yeah, it's all mine. My supertest. So I got to do the same thing again. I got to create a CNAME record. So actually, that I got to do over here. Okay, so CNAME record. This is going to be my super test. That's the host. That's the first part of the subdomain. My super test points to that URL and save. Okay, that should kick in a second. While I'm at it, since I just bought this domain, I do want to forward it somewhere. So I am, for the time being, I'm going to forward it to devnursery.com. Okay, and save that. For now, let's show you the email thing. Let me just, like, GoDaddy doesn't really want you using its old email service anymore, so they kind of hide it. So it is kind of tricky to find. Like, you have to kind of keep exploring different product pages until you find it. Here we go. Workspace email. That's where you want to be. And then you click on Manage All. And this is assuming that sometimes, I don't know if they still give out, like, the free credits for this anymore. Like, they're trying to, I think they're trying to phase this out. But I'm making it where they don't. So I create, like, a free, a subdomain address for every domain I have and make it a catch-all address. So it's like infinite email addresses. So you can do anything at like email.whoisalexmerced.com. You can write cheese at whoisalexmerced.com. And so I create a forward. Just to show you guys how I do this. So we'll just say alex at yourfullstackdev.com. I'm going to forward to my email address. So yes, you'll know what my email address is, but it's not all that much of a secret. Make this a catch-all address. And yeah. Let me actually check here, because usually what used to happen is you'd get like a free credit for like 100 email forwards with every domain you bought. So I think they would be hanging out here in unused plans, all the ones I haven't used. Okay, you have not set up your free account. Okay, so forwarding accounts. Here we go. Free email. Unused plans. Maybe I'll add another one. Here we go. All accounts. View email accounts. Email forwarding addresses only. Domains. Plans. Yeah, I guess it took all the vouchers away. I used to have like a whole bunch of unused vouchers for all the domains I had bought over the years, but I guess I'm good at. I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna be buying 25 more domains anytime soon. Okay. So let's see here. Now with that, let's go back to Netlify. Okay, so let me refresh the page. And see, that's working now too. Okay, and yeah, so it takes you to that URL. Okay, one last one. Let's go to, what is that one? NameCheap. That's where I also have domains. NameCheap.com. And again, if you're picking up on the trend here, it's the same thing every time. So let's find one more dummy project to do this with. So, Happy Beaver, what's this? Notes app. Okay, yeah, so this was from previous exercise I did. Okay, so that works for me. Let's go to domains. Well, let me sign in. Okay, so then I'm going to use one of these URL, these domains. I'll just use dev nursery. Okay, and then what you want to do is you go to advanced DNS. It's always DNS. That's always the goal here. To add a DNS, a CNAME DNS record. So I add a new record. So again, CNAME. Okay, and this one will go to the domain settings again. Add a custom domain. Okay, and then again, this is going to be notes.devnursery.com. Yep, that's fine with me. Notes.devnursery.com, because I do plan on like improving that notes app at some point. So dev nursery. No, what was this? No, this is where I put the URL. Okay, so I need this here. Control C. Put that there. I hit check. And the cool thing about NameCheap, NameCheap does have pretty cheap prices, and then they have to set up email there, you can do that I think in the main domain area. You can set up your email rules. Yeah, here you go, email redirects. So I do the same thing, I just add a catch-all for every domain. So that way, literally, like I can just make emails out of thin air if I feel like it. Cool, and then you can do the same thing here as well. So let me just show you where that would be in cPanel, in case you want to make a catch-all domain email there. Email accounts, I think I do it in email forwarders. Is that where I do it? Yeah, so here I have Alex Merced at Alex Merced Coder. Forwarders. And that's forward specifically to that. No, I don't think I can actually set that as a catch-all though. That's the one thing with cPanel. You could forward all mail in addition to forwarding individual mail accounts, all email from one domain to another. That just forwards it to another domain. Yeah, I don't think I ever was able to find a way to do a catch-all from this platform. And another nice thing about cPanel is, like, again, if you're using cPanel, is really nice if you're not a coder, because then you can easily spin up any of these CMSs. So usually you have all these installers. So if you want to install, oh look, you can do Laravel. That's nice. Dolphin, MyBB, all these like sort of well-known PHP based. Again, this is all very PHP centric. So if you're dealing with cPanel, you know, it doesn't hurt to learn some PHP so you can really take advantage of it and do some cool stuff. My name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy.